This is the first interview with the technology coordinator, and here are the questions. The first question: how does the campus acknowledge, recognize, and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision?
Well, the campus itself, meaning our director, who runs the school and is in charge of all the acknowledgments and recognitions, doesn't. It's mainly in small meetings, in our regular Monday meetings, or in a small environment with just the teachers. So, in the way that she does that, it's just by recognizing people in the meeting. Seldomly is there like a certificate, an award, or like sometimes some schools will give like gift cards or like money or prizes. It's mainly just like we sit there and it's like, oh, so and so did this, and that's it. It's nothing really big. Maybe for we did go through an accreditation process, and she did hand out little leaflets, because as part of our big tree, our big overall goal, we had this big tree up on the wall, and it was like a gold. Well, it was a gold star, I believe. So everyone got a gold star for something that they contributed to this accreditation process, which we successfully passed. But it was something really small for something really big, and we put a lot of work into it, and it was really small. So that's how we're acknowledged or recognized or celebrated
Okay.
on campus.
Next question: how are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and community?
Well, like I said before, the staff, we know, you know, who's being recognized for what. As far as the community, there is a monthly newsletter that the director puts out, which may be mentioned like in a sentence somewhere in the newsletter, and the newsletter's 4 to 5 pages long. So there may be a little sentence somewhere in there recognizing some of the things that we did. But as far as that, I don't see any. The students definitely don't know what we're recognized for, how we're, what we're doing. They just see us teaching and walking around, but it's not like they understand the amount of work that we do, because it's just not recognized in front of everybody or at events, or um, the board members' parents really don't know what we do on a daily basis, because it's just not, they don't understand or know what we do. It's just because I don't think the director does enough of it. So that's how.
Okay. How does the campus use the innovative thinking, risk taking, or failures as a learning experience to promote the campus vision?
So this is what I have the biggest problem with, about my campus, is that there isn't enough risk taking or innovative thinking at all. It seems like it's just, we're just maintaining the status quo. We're not really thinking differently, which what I was used to at my other school. And so I believe in taking big risks, or we learn from our mistakes. If we try something new and we don't succeed, well, at least we tried something. And this campus definitely doesn't allow us to do that at all. I can honestly say that we don't. So it's just not there.
Okay. What processes are used in improving morale, which moves the campus towards the realization of the campus vision?
Processes that are used in improving morale. I think there's a lot of talk, a lot of fluff of, you know, we're a team and we're a family, and I just don't see that. Maybe, myself, um, that will move the campus toward that vision. So the director has a vision, of course, but the processes for improving the morale are not effective. Um, she divides the team and the staff. So half the teachers are on board, half are not, which creates that division and low morale and not enough collegiality, and if there is, it's fake. It's not real. So the processes are very weak. Um, I wouldn't even know what to call them. I wouldn't even call them processes. It's just a lot of talk, and um, especially in the meetings when we're together, it's like everything is good, everything's okay, but when you really get down to the root of it, it's really not, and our campus is struggling because of it. So I think some stronger processes would be beneficial for our campus in in moving together for the common vision of the school.
I had a question. And the last question is, what do you think the school could do to improve some of these processes?
I think some team building for sure, because we come from in international schools, we come from different places, different experiences, different backgrounds. So I think if we had more team building and maybe we got to know each other a little bit better, and we knew how to work together, working through challenges, I think that will bring us together. And like I said before, our director kind of like divide, like there's creates this division between people. So I think that will allow us to kind of work together, force us to work together, and then realize like we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and then when we get to know each other better that way, I think that'll help us a lot. Um, Also maybe, I don't know, peer teaching, like seeing what other teachers have to offer. I don't think we see what we're doing. So maybe take some time, maybe out of the day, like when we have some free time, go in and observe other teachers and get some ideas and say like, hey, that's really cool, or I can try that in my class, or vice versa. Hey, what if you do this? Because we do have some inexperienced teachers, some young teachers who could benefit from that, and we can learn from them as well with their fresh ideas. So I think that could help improving the morale by learning from one another.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
This is a interview with the English teacher at the school. The teacher was not able to actually interview with me for a recording, but they did send me the answers to the questions that I asked since we are overseas. It's a little bit difficult. We're on summer break right now, but they did send me their answers, so I'm going to just read the question that I asked the teacher and read this response that they sent me about the questions that I asked. So the first question I asked the English teacher was, how does the campus acknowledge, recognize, and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision? And this was their answer. He said that the school has a vision that all staff and students should have value and be recognized. Most of the times, though, there is very little actual celebration of student and staff accomplishments. On the teacher side, there is no formal recognition. Every once in a while, staff are praised in a Monday meeting. There might be one or two sentences in a monthly newsletter called The Sandpaper. The director might say that teachers organized an event or that students were getting ready for a test. It seems that individual teacher recognition is private and selective. Many times, teachers put in lots of hard work and the director does not even see it or even say job well done. On the student side, there is little presence from administration to even recognize their accomplishments. Individual teachers do a great job of rewarding students and recognizing them. At sporting events where teams of students do well, the coaches praise the students, but in the coming days, there's not really school-wide recognition. There were small stars given out after the school was accredited, and only 4 out of the 6 teachers got them, even though everyone put in tons of hard work throughout the entire year. The next question I asked the English teacher was, how are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and community? So his response was, as mentioned before, these contributions are not really relayed to staff as a whole. Sometimes they are brought up in a monthly meeting. We did not even celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week. There is just not much culture of motivation and collegiality because of this particular piece is absent on campus.
I do not need individual praise on a daily basis, but I think it is important to keep morale and motivation high at any school, especially when there is such a small community of teachers and administration. Community-wide, the administration does not recognize the students and staff besides from other short snippets or from the short snippets and the monthly newsletter. The PTO, however, does a good job celebrating students and keeping motivation high through monthly events. For example, they celebrate parents and students through Donuts with Dads, where the dads will come in with different classes by grade level, and the PTO provide donuts where the students and parents can celebrate what they're doing in the classroom. At the end of the school year, the PTO had a family day and used the money they raised through the school year to give out prizes, milkshakes, and had games to recognize all the hard work the students put in all year. The next question I asked was, how does the campus use innovative thinking, risk-taking, or failures as a learning experience to promote the campus vision? And he responded, innovative thinking and risk-taking do not seem to occur much at this campus. Every time a new idea is brought up, the response is, well, that is not how it was done last year, or the teachers from last year did it this way. Despite complaints about the miscommunication within the school, there is almost no willingness from the administration to make any changes. Teachers are full of awesome creative ideas, but are often shot down when they bring them up to the administration. If a teacher does something creative and successful on his or her own, they are not praised but condemned for not having followed the procedure from last year. It is really a shame that so many great ideas are put down. As a result, I really do not see a lot of the campus vision of creativity and diversity actually in place. It is talked about at almost every meeting, but there is almost no actual implementation of it. The next question I asked the English teacher, what processes are used in improving morale which move the campus towards the realization of the campus vision? And the teacher responded, the best example of campus morale I can think of is a division of school into 4 houses. It is set up so that students are in mixed grade levels in different houses. Throughout the year, they have academic and athletic competitions and can earn points for their house. During the year, there was a sports day where the houses competed based upon physical activities. Then the teachers came together and thought it would be a good idea for them to also compete on academic side. So there was a competition, an academic decathlon, where the students competed by subjects and teachers contributed questions. So that was a really good way to bring the students in the school and the teachers together for something that was part of the shared vision of promoting creativity and stimulating learning. The teacher also said that I think that the campus could do a better job to include teacher and student achievement throughout the year and reward points by houses for a bigger prize or fun day at the end of the school year. For example, the teachers could give points out to the student with the highest grade in the class, or the student who had the most improved in their class could also receive points for their house, which would contribute to that shared vision and campus mission. And finally, the last question that I asked the math teacher, what do you think can be done to improve mission and vision at the school and alignment to school goals? And the teacher said, this is the English teacher. Overall, the school has quite a bit of work to do to help realize these goals and improve the vision and mission with the culture of achievement at the school. Administration needs to find a way to highlight teacher and student improvement other than just briefly. They should celebrate everyone throughout the year and especially focus with students who need improvement or teachers do something creative to improve the school. This does not need to be a monetary incentive, but it can include things like assemblies of recognition, small ribbons and trophies, or even some kind of dinner that celebrates and presents awards to teachers and students. I also think there should be opportunities for teachers to recognize each other and their students. And that concluded the interview that I had with the English teacher. Again, these questions were sent to me with answers as I wasn't able to interview them because of the distance right now due to the summer break. So again, this is the interview with the English teacher. Good afternoon. This is an interview with the math teacher at the American International School of Niamey, Niger. Again, in this interview, I had to send the questions out to the teacher as we're on summer break, and could not actually have a physical interview in person due to the fact that I'm in Texas and this person is actually in Thailand for the summer. But I was able to get responses from this person, which will help me to compile some information together about my participating video. So this is again the interview with the math teacher, asking the same questions I asked both the technology coordinator and the English teacher. So again, the first question I asked this teacher, I said, how does this campus acknowledge, recognize, and celebrate those who implement strategies in support of the campus vision? The teacher answered, we got gold stars that corresponded to commendations made in the accreditation report. Our school is going through accreditation this year, meaning that all teachers had to put in work to make sure that everything was documented in the school's scope and sequence, curriculum, and lesson plans. Also, the recognition highlighted these stars the recognition given by these stars highlighted how the work that we've been doing has been noticed by others and makes a difference for the school. In a more individualized way, positive reinforcement happens on an informal basis, typically through more personal conversations. And that was the first question. Second question, how are these contributions and achievements effectively communicated to the staff, students, and community? The teacher answered, important work strategies to be shared can be mentioned during our weekly meetings to the teacher body. The main method of communication to the parents and students is through the Sandpaper weekly newsletter, and typically on the front page are highlighted reminders and notes of recognition for important work being done or events being held. Next question. How does the campus use innovative thinking, risk-taking, or failures as a learning experience to promote the campus vision? And the teacher responded that positive reinforcement and recognition is given for valuable innovative thinking. Risk-taking does not seem to be a priority, especially as the school continues to build its culture and normative procedures amidst a new teacher body and student turnover. Shortcomings have been highlighted by our examination of the annual accreditation report, so there is a sense about what can be improved upon for the next year. Teacher appraisal also happens at the end of the year, where goals and progress to reach them are discussed. Next question I asked, what processes are used in improving morale, which moves the campus towards the realization of the campus vision? And the teacher responded, days set aside for particular annual celebrations, assemblies to bring the teacher and student bodies together for events, and other opportunities to showcase achievements. A 4-house system is in place, and it facilitates sportsmanship and belonging. Unity among members are the first thing that come to mind. In this 4-house system, students compete in academic and athletic competitions to earn points for house. Teachers are assigned to houses and can also help the students to compete in these competitions and award these points by houses. The final question that I asked the math teacher, what do you think can be done to improve mission and vision at the school and alignment to school goals? The teacher responded, a more deeply established and consistent culture of understanding maintained by both students and teachers can be added to the school. This will prioritize putting the school community and its vision before self-interest. Most notably, this would mean that students see the purpose behind shared expectations for appropriate academic and social behavior and genuinely see that the value is being a contributing member of the group that shares an ideal. And this concludes the interview with the math teacher at AISN. And again, they teach 6 through 12 math at the school. Thank you. Good afternoon. This is Sarah Alcazar Borrego, and I'm just going to be sharing my reflection of the interviews that I shared for my participating video 1, which interviewed teachers at the school about how they felt about the school's mission and vision and how it relates to a sense of accomplishment at the school. But before I do that, I do want to share a little bit about our school because I think it's important to know that I do work in Niger, West Africa. I teach at an American school. Embassy kids, some local nationals that can afford to go to the school, and a bunch of people who are just expats from all over the world who are working in country. And I wanted to share a little bit about the school's mission and philosophy because I think This will really tie back into how I reflect upon the responses that the teachers gave me. So the actual mission of the school is that the school aims to educate students from diverse cultures to achieve excellence in their intellectual and personal development. They aim to provide a dynamic and enriched American curriculum taught by qualified, dedicated, and caring staff, work in partnership with families to prepare students to flourish in higher education, and become responsible, productive global citizens. And they aim to strive towards continuous and sustained movement in the quality of its educational services. So I'm not going to read the whole philosophy, but I think the philosophy really ties back into the questions that I asked in my interviews about how praise is given at the school and how risk-taking is looked upon or not taken at the school. But the philosophy of the school is that obviously the school is always in pursuit of excellence, just like any school, that we will appreciate richness of diversity, ethnic and religious backgrounds through a constructivist learning philosophy, and that multicultural curriculum is important to promote creativity and critical thinking among our students and staff, to promote communication and problem-solving skills, and to provide a quality education for the person as a whole. So that person can then go out into the world and do something with that education, really be an active learner. So all of this being said, I think it's really important to tie this back into the questions I asked, because the questions had to do with, the vision of the school and how the staff of the school sees that vision as being recognized, or how they don't see it being recognized. And I think that was interesting, the feelings that I felt these interviews were very interesting, because I noticed the more experienced teachers answered very differently than a few of the teachers who are not even certified yet, who are working on the process of their certification this summer. They see the recognition at the school very differently, and I wanted to point that out as I discuss how the interviews actually went. The first question talked about recognition and celebration, and I found, even through informal discussions throughout the year, besides just the interviews, that many of the teachers believe that there really is not enough recognition at the school, that there is not a lot of celebration of the things that are happening at the school, and they feel that they're stifled, that they can't actually be creative thinkers. And I think this is an interesting reflection, because if the teachers feel they cannot be creative and risk-taking and wanting to do all these things to help improve the vision, and not improve the vision, but line up with the vision, then the students see that as an example. And I think it's really interesting, because we do have a culture of apathy at our school. So because there's so many disagreements among teachers, there's a very small staff, 6 teachers, and as you heard, the interviews were very different between some of the teachers at the school. Some thought the school was doing a lot to recognize achievements, while others thought they didn't. Because of all these disagreements, there's a very, very apathetic culture among the students, and a very, very confrontational atmosphere among the teachers. And it's just, there's a lot of negativity at the school, and I think it could be much better. But hearing those interviews kind of reaffirmed some of the things that I had actually been noticing from a leadership perspective, that due to lack of communication at the school, due to lack of praise, due to lack of recognition of all these great things that teachers are doing on a daily basis and that students are achieving, the culture of the school is suffering. And I say this because one of the teachers responded in their interview that in order to change and to improve upon what was happening at the school, that the students need to focus on making sure they're a part of that mission and vision. But from an administrative standpoint, and after taking a lot of these leadership positions, I know that it's the administrator's job to encourage the teachers to develop relationships with their students, to encourage the teachers to build that team with their students, to encourage that participation with their students. The students are there to learn. They have to learn those life skills as well, and they're not doing that on their own. They need help. They need guidance, and that is simply just missing at the school. In one of the informal conversations that I had with the teachers, there was a lot of discussion that administration hardly ever sees what goes on a daily basis. And this is also stated in the interview, that, the principal of the school doesn't go into the classrooms. She doesn't observe what's going on with the students. So it is hard to actually recognize accomplishments when the observation doesn't even take place. And I also found from the teachers, it's not like teachers want like huge rewards, trophies, money for doing well. They just want to be celebrated. They just want to know that they matter in these kids' lives, because sometimes they don't always hear that. And sometimes there's just so much opposite of that attention where there's negativity. And like one of the teachers had mentioned, risk taking. Actually, all three of the interviews said that risk taking is non existent or hardly exists at the school. One of the teachers said that risk taking doesn't exist because it's not allowed. There's so much discussion about what was being done last year. The teachers last year did this, or in the books last year, or at this event last year. There's no openness and willingness to communicate something new, or if it is communicated, or if the teacher tries it on their own, rather than being praised, even if it is successful, they're scolded. And this is what the English teacher had said, that they're scolded because this is not the way they're used to, and the school is not moving towards change. Interestingly enough, the math teacher said that risk-taking was due to a completely different reason. The lack of risk-taking was because of the fact that there's a high turnover in students and new teachers. So because there's new teachers, there shouldn't be any risk-taking. And this is interesting because this is one of the teachers that is in the process of being certified, hasn't had any teaching experience. So, you really see a difference in perspective of how the school is being run from someone who's had a little bit more experience in actual teaching. Not to say that it's a bad response or anything, but it's different. They feel that risk-taking shouldn't happen until a school is completely established. However, in the situation that we're in, and this is a little bit different than Texas schools, all of international schools, there's really high teacher turnover. Teachers usually sign a 2-year contract, maybe extend for a couple more years, and then they go to a new location. And especially the location we're at in Niger, we're in the poorest country in the world. So teachers are constantly leaving, and especially in the last 5 years with what a lot of teachers have said to be weak administration, lack of praise, lack of recognition, really low morale among staff. It's been difficult to keep teachers. And so if the excuse is that because teachers are constantly new, we should never take risks, then nothing will ever change. And we will continue to see the struggle within the school. It's a very, very small school. I mean, we've got 100 kids from pre-K to 12 in the entire school, which is a very small number compared to big schools in Texas that we look at. And when I think about the interview process, something that was I have to say that something the school does well and that the teachers repeated multiple times was the one thing that the students do bond together on is the house system throughout the year, where students are divided and they play sports and they have competitions and they're able to kind of have a fun time and be together with the teachers. But I really think that this could be even a bigger thing, and this is where teacher recognition and support and morale and innovative thinking and risk-taking can be built in, because you know what? Maybe the teachers do want to try something new, and okay, it doesn't work. That's fine. But this is where the question talks about how are failures learning experiences? If we never try something new, how do we know if it's going to succeed? How do we know if it's going to fail? We don't. And if it fails, that's okay. Then we try it differently the next time. But if it succeeds, wow, that's just an awesome thing. And it can be so positive for the school. And I really, really hope that moving forward this next year that I can take what I've learned in my classes and really lead the school in a different direction in a positive way. I really hope that we can bring teachers together and students together and get rid of that apathy and negativity. As one of the teachers said, team building would be a really, really great way to boost morale. I think having conversations with teachers talking about a shared vision, talking about a shared mission that everybody can get on board with, that we can keep track of throughout the year, that we can make goals, we can make graphs, we can make pictures. The important thing is that we're on the same page. So overall, I think this really was a good learning experience, and it gave a lot of perspective on things that are happening in the school. I really went into the interviews knowing what I was going to hear, but not expecting everything that I heard. And I think that was good, because we don't always see everything ourselves. We have to talk to other people about what is going on in the school and what issues matter and what things need to be improved upon. And I think that's such an important trait for a leader, to be able to listen to all these different perspectives, take what they learn and use it in a positive way where we can actually help the school, help the students, because in the end, that's what we're there for. We're there to help the kids, and if we're not doing that, then we're not doing our jobs as a leader. So I really learned a lot from these interview experiences. I think throughout this year, I'll continue to talk to the teachers, even after my internship is over, to see how they're feeling throughout the year, seeing if anything's changed, see if anything has improved, see if anything has gotten worse, and then sit down and make plans and find ways. Even though I'm not an administrator at the school, this internship has kind of put me in a leadership position because we're such a small school. I've taken a lot of responsibilities on, which I really enjoy, and it makes me know and realize that at whatever school I go to next, I really want to have a leadership position where I can bring the school together, I can bring the team together, and make sure that all these things are happening, that there's recognition, that there's praise, that there's morale, there's team building, that there's collegiality amongst staff, amongst students, and that we're all able to work together to achieve what is common goals for us, to educate these students to the best that we possibly can, to make sure that they're ready for their future, to make sure that they're going to become productive global citizens, to make sure that they're creative, to make sure that teachers are able to be creative. Not that they can do whatever they want, but within reason, that there's a plan in place where they can try new things. And if it doesn't work right the first time, that they're not condemned, that they're just promoted to keep trying until it gets better for the students. So overall, good experience with the participating video. I really hope that this year I will learn a lot more and that I can continue on my path to leadership. Thank you. This concludes my reflection for my interviews for my participating video option 1. Thank you.